Call that we do every Thursday, 11 a.m., sharing with you what you need to know, want to know, and just allows us to get to know you. Thank you for being part of our Momentum Builder community that's going to be growing rapidly with our new, acquisition of the best of the best. We're going to start with that. If you haven't heard, Momentum is very excited. I know Brittany knows that we have acquired the Sales Mastery brand and teamed up with Todd Duncan to bring the best two brands together for one giant event next October 2025, October 14th through the 17th in Dallas. That's right. We moved it because we wanted out of Vegas so we don't have the distractions of Vegas. Plus, everybody gets burnt out on Vegas and move it to the middle of the country so more people can attend from all over the nation because we're going to blow this thing up. It will sell out because I know Todd sells out every year. So we're going to have 1,500 to 2,000 professionals. And that's what we're aiming for, those who want to level up and improve. So we're really excited to have you join us and make sure you get your tickets soon because it will sell out. Plus, ticket prices will go up. So that's your holiday treat. So we wanted to start with that because that's big news. What do you think of that, Brittany? You were there at the beginning of Momentum Builder when we were at the airport hotel
I was gonna
7 years
say,
ago.
I still remember you and Gino talking about wanting to launch it at a dinner, what feels like 1,000 years ago. So I am so very excited for you guys. This is a perfect partnership between your team and Todd's Sales Mastery team. And I know that the event next year is not going to just be the biggest ever, it's going to be the best ever too. So I'm very excited for you and everyone in the Momentum Builder community. Ah,
Oh,
yes,
that's the start.
stage. I remember that.
Sonia's so good about bringing up the past. She finds this stuff. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Woo. We had like our own podcaster helping us do all the video and everything. Our whole team did everything. That was the start of it though. Oh, Sonia loves those boxes.
Yeah.
She had to freaking help build all those things and tear them down because I wanted these boxes out there so it was just in their face. Anyway, that was the start 7 years ago, and now we're gonna just have. What's cool, Brittany? This is what you're all about. So we're not calling it an event; it's actually an experience because an event is something you feel you go to, you take notes, and you leave. An experience will change your life, and that's our goal: is to change your personal and professional life, and not just the impact of what we're going to share with you, but also the feeling and the experience you're going to get, and the networking, and the parties, and the fun, and meeting people that are going to change your life. It's going to be amazing. And if you're not showing up with your whole team, they're going to miss out. I guarantee it. It's changed my life over the last 30 years because I almost quit the business until I went to Sales Mastery and I learned how to do it right and aligned myself with the right people and the right tech and the right tools and the right mindset. So that's what we're bringing. So speaking of mindset, that's what you're here for, Brittany. You're the master of building. Oh, super
Ooh.
fans. Who's got your
Very
book?
subtle. I love it.
Right?
I love
Here's
it. Yeah. And, I love what you just said about that experience because I was talking to an originator a couple of weeks ago and he had worked in financial services his whole life. And it wasn't until he bought his first house that he said he felt dramatically underprepared. He was like, I didn't understand the contracts I was being asked to sign. I didn't understand the terms. I felt at a loss. And he was somebody who had been in and around financial services. He had worked at an insurance company, he had worked at a bank. And he said in that moment, he thought, what am I doing? Like, I have to get into mortgage. How many people that don't have the benefit of, having multiple college degrees and having worked in financial services are being asked to sign things that they do not understand at all, make decisions about things that feel completely foreign to them. And so at that moment, he decided that he was going to be an originator and he looks at every single client as an opportunity to create an experience that will impact the rest of that person's life. So he's walking alongside them, not just for the credit journey to buy the house, but to say, here are some things that maybe you were never told. Here is some knowledge that maybe you never had before. Here are some tools that perhaps nobody told you existed. And so what you said about Sales Mastery powered by Momentum Builder being an event and an experience, I hope everybody looks at every deal that you have the privilege to get to work on as an opportunity to create an experience for a borrower or a partner in that transaction, to give them the benefit of tools that to you may seem very like common, like, oh, everybody does this because you've done thousands and thousands and thousands of loans in some cases. But for people who've never done one or have done like only a couple, it's not just about that closing. It's about the experience that makes them feel empowered to not just make better decisions in the future, but also be more likely to work with you again and tell their friends they need to work with you as well.
And I love that. And thank you for that, Brittany. And let's give a little background. So, because people are like, because we continue to bring you into the mortgage community because you're not just a mortgage specialist, you're an experience specialist.
You guys can't
And
get rid of me. I'm like a Marvel superhero that just keeps coming back and back and back and back
yeah,
again. It's like multiverse
yeah, this is
situation.
version 7 of Brittany. But go back a little bit on your background so that those who are on the call they understand why we're friends, why we rely on your expertise, why you motivate and pump us up and give us new creative ideas that we don't hear on a regular basis because you go from the outside of the box because we hear a lot of the same old same old. Trust me, we and they are rock stars, they're good at their jobs, but we're like, yeah, yeah, been there, done that, heard that. But I love today, we're going to talk about something that is imperative because it's something we're talking to our team. Remember that Gino and I run a team of originators, we're regional managers, we have multiple branches, and our big push right now is how do you differentiate yourself with all the noise right now and all the competition because it's so easy for a client to just push a button now and get information. So how do you differentiate yourself? And I asked my team, of like, if a client, is comparing you to others, why you versus your competitors? And it's a very hard question to answer because most will say, oh, because I'm great at my job, I'll close on time, I can get you a great rate, I'll refinance when it's time. And like you and I talked about before the show started was, oh, never heard that before. So help us figure out how to differentiate ourselves because
Yeah,
that
well,
is key. It's really hard to do. And once you know how to do it, it helps you be more confident when you have that question asked. So I'm going to,
it helps you be
that's a
more
tee up.
confident and it helps you be more memorable. So obviously, mortgages are complex and can feel overwhelming and can invoke anxiety in people who are, trying to get their first one or even a subsequent one. And the other thing, like all of those are challenges, but the biggest challenge that I think every originator has is the human brain thinks in pictures, right? Like when I say the word banana, you see a banana in your head. You don't see the word banana spelled out. You don't see something else. Like everybody on this call seems some version of like a banana, right? Like if I say bicycle, I don't maybe know what color the bike is, but like you're seeing a bicycle in your mind. When we say the word mortgage, it's so abstract that many people have no picture that comes up in their head. And if they do, it may be something negative, right? It may be a foreclosure sign. It may be a house that's under contract. It may be like a contract that they're looking at, like a statement. It's very nebulous. Like you can't just say that word and know that there's a very high likelihood that the person that is hearing it is thinking the same thing in their head that you want them to be thinking. So that is why so many people, when they think about mortgage, default to these commodity things because that's all we know. Like we understand numbers. We may not understand rates and terms, but on our head, we're like, oh, I can count. Like I know what numbers are, right? So we just
Right.
sort of default down to sort of the lowest common thing that we can think of. So the reason it's critical to create differentiation is because you want people to think of you when they hear the word mortgage. You want them to think of your face, your brand, your name, and a great experience they had with you, because then you're differentiating yourself. Then you become somebody that they're going to work with again and they're going to recommend. So whether it's a realtor or another partner recommending you as part of a transaction or a borrower who wants to work with you again, but you've got to differentiate yourself instead of just standing out in a sea of sameness, right? Like think of a Where's Waldo puzzle and you're like, oh, everybody kind of looks like Waldo. Like everybody's wearing red and white stripes. Like, can I just, you know, touch anywhere on this and say like you'll do, or do I want to keep looking for Waldo? So differentiation is about becoming the Waldo.
Now I have that in my head, by the way. I have Waldo. I see the red and white, cap. But, I bet you
You are
all of
wearing
you
red and
on
white
this
right now,
call,
Don.
huh?
I said you are wearing red and white.
There you go. I got the Waldo look. So I want to remind you guys to please to help you be more engaged and let us know if you like what's being said or have comments. Comment like Troy's doing right now. But also at the bottom, you have little reactions that you can hit up. And if you like what we're saying or are surprised or think it's funny, send it up because that kind of helps keep us engaged, keeps you engaged, and makes it a lot more fun. So make sure you use the reactions at the bottom. There you go. You got a thumbs up. All
Yes,
right.
as my 7-year-old would say, smash that like button.
All right. So you started talking about being memorable because the hardest thing that I see, and you can give me your input here, um, like perfect example, Troy put here, and I like that Troy is engaging. He helps us with this stuff because he's like, when some people hear mortgage, unfortunately, they think of a sleazy car salesman. Even though none of us are in that ball game because we have to really know well, most of us need to know our craft. Those that answer the phone for a call center, not so much. So you're only going to get that kind of advice. So how do we differentiate ourselves and convert them from a cold lead to a warm lead?
I love it. Well, one thing that everybody has to embrace this idea of is you are a brand. You have a personal brand. And I know this is something some people are like, I'm not a brand. I don't have a brand. You are. If the minute you are on the internet, you are a brand. The question is not if that's true, it's are you controlling it or are you letting someone else control it for you? And my friend Rory Vaden likes to say that
Love
a
Rory.
personal brand is just the digitization of your reputation. And it's so true. And something that I know in my heart to be true, but it's very, very hard to prove empirically with data is that I think for everybody on this call, and not just in mortgage, but in many sales driven opportunities and fields, the single largest missed opportunity bucket that exists in your business are people who were given your name but decided not to work with you because of something they saw before you knew they existed. So somebody says out loud, oh, I'm thinking about moving into a new home, right? I'm thinking about X. I'm thinking about Y. I was going to say refi. Probably not a lot of people trying to refi right now. Maybe, who knows? But
Not a whole lot.
somebody
It comes
said
and goes.
they got an 8% house a year ago and now they want a
Yeah.
6%, whatever it is. They say something along the lines of, I think I need a new mortgage. Someone says to them, oh, yeah, I worked with this guy, Dawn. They type your name into Google, either from what they see on Google or maybe from what they see on your website. If they get that far, they shrug and think, okay, yeah, maybe. And maybe they even screenshot it on their phone, but they don't reach out. And if it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks before they think about it again, are they going to look back at what they saw, reach back out to that person who gave them Dawn's name the first time and ask again? Or is it easier to just ask the question again in another forum, right? Whether that's a group online, whether that's a text chain, whether that's a Google search. And because many
Co-workers.
people think of mortgages as like a total commodity thing, because many people don't have that like concrete image that they see in their mind, they're like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll just do it again, right?
Hmm.
I think that represents a huge portion of lost opportunities for everybody. Again, everybody in sales in general, not just mortgage, but specifically in mortgage. So, what does that mean for you? It means that the reason differentiation is important, the reason your personal brand matters is because you have to make it very clear that you're providing a value proposition that nobody else has. One of these things is not like the others. Like, don't keep looking for somebody else. You found the right person in me, so that that person proactively reaches out to you. And when they do that, because they liked what they saw on your website, on a social forum, on your Google reviews, now you have gone from being a commodity provider in their minds to a category of one. Like, you're the one who it's your deal to lose or your opportunity to lose at that point.
A category of one. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you heard that. Who wants to be a category of one? because there's so much noise out there right now. There we go. Thumbs up. Exactly. That's all the difference because we've all been there. And give me another. Actually, I'm going to change this up because I want to see if you give me a celebration, the one at the right. If you've had clients that you know only refer you and are excited to come back to you, come on, give me some love because those are the clients we love. Those are the ones that make us enjoy our jobs. There's no selling. And you take care of them. You don't gouge those clients because you want them to come back because you care about them. And then a lot of people go, oh, that gives you the chance to take advantage of them. Those are actually the last ones you want to take advantage of because
We don't
they're
want to take
loyal
advantage of
to you.
anybody. We want to treat
Right.
everybody very well.
Yes, and the good guys do. But my point is if we can become that category of one to more, to many versus just a few, it will change your career and make you enjoy your career. Because I'll tell you this, this is something I really learned, and you can give me your opinion on this, Brittany, because it changed my career because I almost quit. And one of the best thing that I learned was from Jim McMahon, was one of the first loan officers. I'm dating myself to do $100 million at the time. That was gigantic. If he did 15 million back in my early days, it was a lot. And he did $100 million. And I remember talking to him about how do I grow because I don't have enough time to work with enough people. And his statement was that I might be one, working with the wrong people. And two, there's enough people to do business your way, not to worry about those who don't. And that changed my career because now it is not just the clients I work with, but it's also the agents I work with and my team that I work with. And a lot of them are on this call. So if you're working with me, I love you. Trust me, because otherwise you wouldn't be working with me. And thank you. It's probably one of my teammates give me a little heart. Um, so it makes a difference. What's your opinion on that and how you can create that?
Absolutely makes a difference. And so the book that you were kind enough to hold up earlier, it's called Creating Superfans. Thank you. And in it, I introduce a framework that I call the super model. And super is an acronym. And the idea is that if you want to create superfans, you can't just be a little bit better than the next guy. You have to truly be super. You have to earn those superfans. And so the first pillar of that supermodel is S, which stands for start with your story. And in that section of the book, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Defining who you are, defining the culture you want to build, the people you want to work with, both on your team and on the customer and client side of your business, and not being apologetic for that. And being able to articulate your message in a way that makes it obvious that if somebody is in alignment with these things, they are going to be a great fit for you. Because you're right, there's never going to be enough time in the day to work with every potential client. So if you can get laser focused on the type of people that you love to serve, whether it's a geographical preference, whether it's an age preference, whether it's a dollar amount preference, whether it's a life circumstance or situation preference, whatever it is that you feel I'm called to serve this audience or I enjoy serving this audience, figure out how to tell that story, both overtly and subtly.
All right. So tell your story. So that's a differentiator there because most don't tell their story. They show up and throw up is what I say. They start selling immediately. And, and again, give me your reactions. And sometimes you do that. I know some of us just feel we need to sell. We have to sell why they need to work with us. And I disagree because once you start selling, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They can smell the commission breath. They can't differentiate yourself. You're just somebody else that's basically trying to sell. So how do we tell our story and how do we get them to understand that, that we're different from the others? Because that's really hard to do.
Great
Right?
question. Well, it starts before you ever talk to them. It starts with all that personal brand stuff that we talked about of having a clear mission statement, having clear core values about why you do this and what it is that, what is the standard that you're holding yourself to? What is it that you love about the clients that you have the privilege to work with and serve? And then in the book, I talk about this idea of intentional experience design, looking at the moments. And I know we have a question from Troy. I haven't had a chance to read the whole question, Troy, but it sounds like you're talking about like difficult moments, knowing that there are tough moments, thinking about what are the things that you know you're going to encounter? If you know that there's likely to be something that goes sideways during an inspection or escrow period or at closing or waiting for underwriting or whatever those moments are, figuring out in advance how you're messaging what that could be, how you're helping them anticipate what could be worse if they are not expecting it, and then what the plan is. Like, how does your story converge with the fact that you're saying, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There are going to be a couple of rough moments. There are going to be some points where, you may not like me very much. And that's just the reality of the industry of mortgage. And that's why it's so important for you to work with somebody like me, who's going to have your back, who's going to be right here with you, who's going to tell you what to expect, who's going to tell you as it's happening that it's unfolding, and who is definitely going to be here to high five and celebrate with you when we get to the other side. And if you can set expectations correctly at every moment to say, oh, do you remember a few weeks ago when I told you we were going to get to this point? Do you remember when, if you have something that shows them step by step what it's going to look through as your file goes through? I remember when I got my first mortgage, I had an LO that was like, everything's going to be gravy. It's going to be so easy. And like every single time underwriting came back and was like, no, we need your taxes from 1989. No, we need you to like prove to us that, you had a pet dog when you were 4 years old, like all of these crazy things. And I was like, I thought it was going to be easy. What? And
Right.
it
This
made
isn't
it
so
feel that much
easy.
harder
Right.
because at that point I felt like I had
They
been
didn't set proper expectations.
exactly.
So then you have nowhere to go but down. If you set the expectation like it's going to be easy and anything goes wrong, then that's that overpromise, underdeliver type scenario and stuff. But I love,
Exactly.
so let me hit, this is what I'm hearing because I dig on this because you don't have to sell yourself. If you properly frame the experience, like and hear me out. What I mean by frame the experience, if you tell them exactly what you're saying is you frame the experience, what to expect, how you're going to handle it, how you're going to actually go follow through on your word to get them in their home, explain the values of and the importance of that home, and how you're going to celebrate the end. You create that whole picture in their head of a successful home buying experience versus
Yeah.
I'm just gonna get you a loan. Anybody can get me a loan. But if you're gonna share with me how, here's the things to expect, and here's how I navigate through them to help them through them, and here's how we celebrate at the end, you now paint the whole picture for them versus nobody else painting the picture. Am I right?
Exactly. And you increase the likelihood that people will then be looking through every part of the transaction with a more positive lens. So just to share a story, I recently had several things at my house painted, and it has been a disaster. Like, this is not just
Typical.
the worst painting vendor I've ever worked with, but like one of the worst companies I've ever worked with, full stop. It has been a straight up nightmare from like every single turn, right? To the extent of like they showed up one day, the crew that they sent painted stuff that wasn't supposed to be painted, a color that we had never seen before. Like, they took white doors and trim on my house and painted them brown for like, no, they were supposed to paint the deck gray or like stain the deck with gray deck stain. And they painted all of the doors and window frames on one side of our house brown. And we're like, what? Like, just crazy stuff like that, right? So anyway, the process has been so terrible. And now, because it's been bad and there have been so many like painful moments, that every little thing that before I probably wouldn't have noticed or would have given them the benefit of the doubt, I'm like, this company is incompetent and awful, right? Like the fact that there's like paint splatter on the brick, the fact that, I'm not getting any of the emails from them, just like everything feels worse. And so as humans, sometimes we have the cognitive dissonance of like, do I like this? Do I not like this? Is this good? Is this bad? Like, our brains want things to be simple. Our brains want things to make sense. So when you do a great job of over communicating, when you do a great job of winning somebody's trust and explaining to them where they're at in the journey, what it means and why it matters, they are going to give you the benefit of the doubt in a way that can work opposite for you if you aren't over communicating. And so then when things start to happen, when, the pre-approval doesn't happen as fast as they expected, or it takes a little bit longer for underwriting, or there's some questions that come back on the, title or whatever it is, they're going to be like, well, this is your fault because you suck. Like you're terrible and you're making this worse versus having that bias toward you're a really great person who's working very hard. And I'm very lucky to have you on my side because it would be a lot harder without you.
All right. So, and you always answer so clearly and with fun though, because it can't be a chore because sales is hard enough.
Mhm.
And give me a thumbs up if you have. Sales is hard. That's why we get paid what we get paid because it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, plain and simple. And I tell my team that all the time because they get frustrated with certain challenges, things they have no control over, and so forth. I'm like, yeah, but that's why you get paid what you get paid when it's good. We're going through a rough patch in the last 2 years, but we'll turn this around and the good will survive. And because we survive, then we thrive because shoot, half our competition is already gone because they weren't good in the first place. They're order takers. So those of you on this call, good for you. One, you're on this call. Two, you're learning. And three, you're going to crush the competition as it improves. And it does. It goes through. I've been through, you can tell by these wrinkles. I've been around for a little while. And I've gone through, 4 cycles now, and the other side is just awesome. And it's the rough times that make you appreciate the good times. If there was no winter, we would not enjoy summer and so forth. So we have some good questions here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
was just looking
oh,
at the one
Jake
from
Vermillion's
Pam.
on this. Hey, Jake, thanks for jumping on the call,
Yeah,
buddy. Jake's a
Pam says
rock
I heard.
star. Oh, Jen Fretwell. She is a rock star. I just saw her on our call with our company, and she's so cool because she's got a servant heart. Thanks for jumping on the call, Jen. I loved you on the call right before this, and that's why you're killing it. She's a rock star with our company, and thanks for being on the call. Very cool. So I want to hit some of these because Pam, Sarah, I heard someone once that some people have a referral personality and some don't. Thoughts about how to nudge people to refer. And that's really hard because otherwise it's really hard to grow your business. I mean, there's not a ton out there, so you need them to refer, plain and simple. And the referrals are stickier than a cold lead. You want warm leads because right now, I'll just tell you, Brittany, in our industry, the clients are flaky. They'll bail for any one thing. They're almost looking for an excuse to bail right now because they feel the rates are too high, the prices are too high for the home, interest rates are too high, so forth. So, how do you make them refer and be sticky? And you're
It's a
great at
great
winning
question.
super fans.
Well, here's a really fun fact. This is from a company called Mention Me that I've gotten to work with a little bit this year. They do advocacy and referral marketing. So we all know that somebody who comes to you via a referral is, a less expensive lead, a higher qualified lead, somebody that's more likely to close. We all love referrals. Here's something that I didn't know that is incredible. Somebody who comes to you via a referral is 4 times as likely to refer somebody else to you as somebody who comes to you through any other means. So, Pam, you said some people have a referral personality, some people do not. Somebody who comes to you because their friend said you were going to be awesome and you were 4 times as likely to refer somebody else. Why? Well, if you think about from a reputation standpoint, how it can sometimes feel like high stakes to refer somebody, right? Like you tell somebody, hey, this experience is going to be awesome. And then it's not, and it reflects poorly on you. If you thought going in, it was kind of like I was saying before, giving you the benefit of the doubt or having your mind make things make sense because it's how you expected it to be. If somebody says, work with Don, he's amazing, and then Don is amazing, you are now less on the hook reputationally to anybody you tell that Don is awesome, right? You can be like, hey, my friend Dave had a great experience with Don, and so did I. You got to give Don a call. And so somebody who comes to you via a referral is 4 times more likely to refer somebody else. So a few things that you can do with that, Pam. Number one, know that those people who come to you via a referral, I would concentrate on not just obviously being amazing for them, but trying to plant the seed of getting more referrals. So how do we do that? One way is make sure that they feel so welcomed when they start, right? I am so grateful that Jack sent you my way. This is going to be great. I promise to, whatever it is that you say to differentiate yourself, whatever. You want to make sure that you know how grateful, you want to make sure that they know how grateful you are that they acted on this recommendation from Jack. You also want to reach out to Jack to say, hey, Jack, thanks so much for sending Henry my way. Like that was amazing. close that loop. So that person who refers gets that little dopamine hit of like, oh yay, that's awesome. Like I did a good thing for Jack and for Don. So that's number one. Number two is with that referred person, start to plant seeds throughout the journey. Because one thing that people forget is you can get a referral before the deal closes. Like oftentimes people that are going through the process of buying a home or talking to other people in the process of buying a home, they're in the same Facebook groups, they're talking about it in the community, they've got like a WhatsApp going with a few friends. You can earn referrals even before somebody's loan closes with you. So plant the seed that you love that most of your business comes from referrals, just like this person came to you via Jack or whatever the imaginary friend's name was. Another thing that I will say, the best way to get more referrals is to give more referrals. The best way to get more referrals is to give more referrals. Think about all of the people you know that you could refer business to. In the home space, you've got inspectors, you've got roofers, you've got concrete people, you've got like a bajillion vendors, right? But then what about in the communities that you serve? Restaurants that you love, massage therapists that you love, barbers or hairstylists that you love. If you want to get more referrals, give more referrals. And you can say every time you do one of these, oh, you know what? Because you said X, I think you would love Y. And I love telling people about Y because I know as somebody who's the lifeblood of my business is referrals, how important it is to spread the news when I find something really great. And that's why you've got to take your husband to try this restaurant, or that's why you've got to take your kids to a gymnastics class here. Give more referrals. It's great when you can give them to
Wow.
your clients too, because I promise you there are a lot of people that you did mortgages for this year who do something awesome that your other clients would love to hear about. You have somebody who has like an amazing talent for making something that would make everybody's like top Christmas list idea. You have somebody that can make lawns look beautiful. You have somebody that can like take incredible pictures of people's kids. Get to know what it is that your clients do because many of them would probably benefit from your referrals too.
Wow. That is golden nugget. Give me a thumbs up if you just thought what I just thought of is what an easy way to build value because we have to build value. That's our differentiator is building value, right? So if you don't have a way to build value other than just doing a loan, which is a commodity these days. Now there's tough ones like, Troy said, he's a master at, trust me, he works with me. There's nobody that does tougher loans than Troy. And that is a gift. And then sometimes I'm like, Troy, stop doing tough loans, do better loans, do easier ones because he works so hard. But the goal, like Larry's saying, is that if you create a resource page of referral opportunities, meaning if you need anything, I have a great referral. A perfect example. I have a good friend, and some of the people on this call know he's Steve Korn. He's an escrow officer. He owns an escrow company, I should say. He took it over from his dad, and he's the best. His superpower is not just escrow. Escrow is kind of escrow. Now he's very gifted and very knowledgeable, but what his gift is that dude knows everybody who knows everybody. He has a resource for anything you possibly need. Even for me, if I need a resource for anything, whether it's buying a car, it's paint, getting paint on my house, whatever it is, the dude will go, you have to go see Mike. Mike is the best. He will take care of you. And if you want, I'll call him right now and tell him you're going to call. Or make sure you mention my name. He'll take great care of you. The dude is the resource dude. He knows every restaurant everywhere. He keeps a list of the restaurants. Like you're going to Nashville, he'll tell you what restaurants to go to. He doesn't live there. But when he's there, he's checking it all out. When he goes to Italy, he's making notes and he tells you, oh, you have to go to this little cafe in the corner and everything. Maria is amazing. You're like, who does that? So that's a great idea. Is just, and we all know this. And all right, give me an O face if you're like, yeah, I've heard this before, but I didn't do it. Because we all know that we don't have our referrals built out. Now, it's a catch 22. So, Brittany, how do we handle that when you refer somebody out and it doesn't go as planned? That's the big faux pas I get as well. When I refer, sometimes it doesn't go well. You might want
So
to say, not all my referrals. I mean, how do we handle that?
well, when you get a referral and it doesn't go well, that's probably gonna be the last referral you get from that person unless you're able to close the gap with them. So there are different ways to handle that based on what went sideways. Because obviously, there are some things you're not going to be able to share because they're confidential because of the client who was sent your way. Other times it could be somebody who has sent you a bunch of great people in the past. You can always, you're going to always have to do this based on your like your relationship with that person, but it's almost always going to be better as a phone conversation than an email to pick up and to say, hey, I really appreciate all of the people that you've introduced me to or sent my way over the past years, and I just wanted to give you a call because Jamie, who you told me about a few months ago, it's just, it's just not working out, and I wanted to give you a little bit of context because you've been such an amazing friend to me, and I felt like I owed you an explanation of why her expectations are likely not being met. And what you're doing then is sort of A, taking ownership for like this went sideways, B, getting the chance to explain yourself. Because if you don't, they're only hearing one side of the conversation and it's not probably going to be one that
Mhm.
paints you in a very good light. And three, you're giving them more contextual information for perhaps like, don't send everybody my way in the future, right? Not saying that, hey, make sure somebody's credit score isn't 500 before you send them my way, but being able to say like, I did so much. I worked so hard for Jamie because I knew she was a friend of yours and because I wanted to do everything possible. And we did this and this and that and that and that and that. And man, in the end, we just couldn't get there as much as I wanted to. And I promise you, like nobody could have got this loan done. Nobody would have worked this hard. And I told Jamie that I hope she'll do X, Y, and Z. And in 6 months or 18 months or whatever, we're going to try again. But you never want to just like put your tail between your legs and like awkwardly, go into the sunset like, oh, I guess I'm not going to be getting any more referrals from Jeremy anymore. You
Right.
always owe an explanation. And again, every situation is going to be a little different. And that's
Mhm.
why it's not like a follow this template or send this email or whatever. But always try to have those conversations when you can, of course, without revealing anything that is going to, either be against the law or not something that the referred person would be comfortable with you sharing.
All right. Um, Thank you for that, Brittany, because
Of course.
these are like the other thing is as I'm hearing you, and I'm kind of excited because I want my team. I'm glad some of my team is on this call, and we got some great people on this call, and I know a lot of you. So thanks for coming back on the call because this is great pearls. So the other thing is I'm thinking is when you're setting up your referral sources, so you have a whole page in your referral sources, and now you have fans, multiple fans. Seriously, you got to have fans. Otherwise, you're transactional, which this industry sucks when you're transactional. That's a technical term. If you have fans and people that refer you, this business is so much better and so much easier. But you can also set, am I right that you can set proper expectations both ways? Meaning, hey, when I refer you, I'm going to refer you. I'm going to find out. Tell me more about you, why I should, how you want me to refer you, and what's special about your restaurant, your carpet cleaning, whatever it is. Tell me those specialty things so I can properly refer you. And I'm going to let you know what my specialty is so you can properly refer me so that when we refer each other, it's golden hour. It's, hey, Don referred you. I'm going to take incredible care of you. So make sure you take great care of me. I promise to do the same. Do not, and we'll keep this revolving door going back and forth through our careers and through our lifetime, creating opportunities for both of us. But we have to, basically step up when we get referred. And I'll do the same for your clients. I will make sure that I create an amazing experience. So setting proper
I love
expectation, I
that.
think, is
And
important.
I think it's very important. There's a lot of nuance here, right? Like you never want it to feel like a quid pro quo. You never want anybody to misunderstand that you're saying, I'm going to refer you because I want you to refer me. And honestly, if that is the lens through which you see the world, what I am talking about is not for you, right? There's a community that I'm a part of called Impact 11. It's a speakers group. And one of the core values there is give generously and don't keep score. And if you're one of those people who's like I will never forget, my husband and I were living in a high-rise building in Manhattan, and there were like 30 people that worked in the building. So I always hated I was new, like when Christmas time came up, it was like thousands and thousands of dollars every year of the tips, because they would tell you like, oh, the recommended lowest tip that you should give is like $50 for every doorman or $100 for every doorman or whatever it was. And there were all these people. So the tips for the holidays were like more than what our rent was for the month. So throughout the year, we were like, all right, whatever. And I'll never forget one day going down to the manager's office to give the like mean building manager lady an envelope with her holiday money in it. And she goes, oh, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I've got to open my spreadsheet. Okay, what apartment building are you in? Like, she didn't even know who we were. She didn't even care. She's like, what's your apartment? Because she legit had a spreadsheet of who gave her a holiday gift and who did not. So be the opposite of that lady. I think her name was like
Wow.
Eleanor or something. She was so mean. She was like not helpful at all. Give generously and don't keep score. So when you're having those conversations with people, obviously it depends on what they are. Like a restaurant is going to be very different than a carpet cleaner. But I love saying that of, hey, you do XYZ. That sounds so cool. I bet I have a lot of clients and friends and people in my network that could really benefit from that. Why don't you tell me a little more? So you're showing up with that curiosity to ask the questions, to put yourself in a better situation to refer.
So I hope, again, I'd love to see some thumbs up because you just now got a new, when you're, everybody's putting together their 2025, you know, business plans, and everybody wants to increase their business and stuff. If you don't, you shouldn't be in sales. I'm sorry. But it's been a rough couple of years. We all believe that 2025 will be better than 23 and 24. I do. And that alone helps because I know you're a mindset person. If you have the right mindset that the year's going to be better, it will be. You control your own destiny. You can't control the outside factors. You're not controlling interest rates, not controlling the housing market. You're only controlling what you can control. So I love this that you can now create super fans. Get the book. I know Sonia put it in the chat because then you can now increase it. Because right now, honestly, give me an O face if you're not getting enough leads from your agents right now, because I know the answer to that because they don't have leads to give you right now, honestly, because that's the challenge right now, Brittany, is
Yeah.
you can go after them and go, hey, I'd love to help you. How do I get more leads? Dawn, give me leads because I don't have any right now. There's nobody, not enough people buying homes right now. So if you can find out ways to expand your group, that's awesome. Get super fans, which is awesome. And then before we close out, so hopefully you guys are taking notes and you're thinking, oh, I can build my whole group, my whole resource group of super fans. And then it's not a quid pro quo, it's a value proposition that no one has. When you talk about your value proposition and why you and not somebody else, of course, you tell your story, but how would you, I'm putting you kind of on the spot a little bit, and it doesn't have to be specific, but if the client is, you got to assume the client is shopping. Very few just go to their first, and some do. If they're properly referred, they will just go to you and trust you. But if they aren't, they're shopping. How would you, if somebody's like, hey, Brittany, I'm looking to purchase a home and I'm looking for a lender right now, and why should I choose you and your company? Can you give us a 2 minute how you'd answer that?
Yeah, well, what I will tell you is that everybody's answer should be different, right? This is where it's what I say, start with your story. It's because everything originates from what your answer to that question is. So thank you, Jen and Huntley, for saying that you loved the book and enjoyed the book. Here's what I would say. You have to be able to answer it in a way that, like, if somebody were to say, why you, and you answer, could they say, so what? Or, yeah, you and everybody else, and keep going. So like you saying you should work with me because I'm gonna work really hard for you. Yeah, you and everybody else I'm talking to. What does that mean? Well, it means that I've got 27 years of experience and I've done a bunch of different loans. Yeah, so what? This guy has 33 years of experience. What does that mean? Well, it means I've done, like, role play it with somebody. Of, if somebody can say, so what, who cares? You are not yet at what your core uniqueness is, what a differentiator is for you. So it might
So
it
go
might sound
get
something
past the
like this.
table stakes.
Right, exactly. And here's the deal, like, getting the loan done is table stakes. Like a lot of people focus on the
Mhm.
loan. It's not about the loan. It's about
Sure
every
hope you can get the loan done, right?
Exactly, because the loan is the commodity. So it might sound something like, hey, Dawn, so glad to talk to you for a couple of minutes. Hey, I know that if you're about to buy your first home, you're probably talking to a few different lenders. That's what many people do. I want to talk to you for a couple of minutes about what I tell my prospective clients and what's different about working with me. And that's when you go into what it is that you can do different. A lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, think it's all about the rate. And I'm not going to lie to you, the rate is really important. But here's what I didn't know, and a lot of people don't know when they get their first house, that there are 900 different variables. It's so confusing. It's like going into a restaurant where everything is a la carte. So it's not just as simple as there's one rate. We have to be thinking about the terms and the points and the conditions and all of the things, right? So when you're doing that, a couple of things. Number one, you're telling them, don't just think the number is the number and pick somebody else, because that would be a mistake. Number two, you're explaining to them that you have experience and you know what you're talking about. It's not just, do you want there's 5 pairs of black shoes that are the same, so buy the one that costs the least. It's, we're building the right pair of shoes for you. And I don't want you to buy a pair of shoes off the rack. I want to create the like brilliant, beautiful, bespoke Italian leather ones that are exactly right for you. So that's what you've got to be able to explain, right? Is that, a lot of times people make the mistake of choosing somebody because a number is presented to them and they think, well, that's lower than the other number. But here's what they didn't know. They're paying more for closing. They're, buying down a cheaper rate, and that's going to cost them tens of thousands of dollars over the next 8 years or whatever. Like, explain what you know about what that means. And in a way that makes them think, oh, okay, well, the other people I talked to said the rate is this or the rate is that. So you've got to be willing to do a little bit of education. And if I may add one thing that has nothing to do with
Please
this,
do.
but I want to sort of issue a challenge to everybody as you start to think about 2025. There are only 4 buckets that your leads and your customers are coming from. There are 4. Number 1, paid. These are leads that you are paying money from, whether you're getting them from Zillow, whether you're paying somebody else, they're coming to you internally, like you are paying money for somebody's name. You know that these are not only the most expensive, but the least likely to close, right? People don't want you to cold call them being like, hey, I paid money for your name. I probably have your social security number too. You want to talk to me about your mortgage? They don't. That's bucket number 1, paid. Bucket number 2 is what I call reputation. People who know who you are. It could be because you sponsored something at the local community fair and they like saw your name, they got your business card, they met you at a table, they read a review of you online, they've seen some of the social content you've posted. They know who you are. And so you're likely to maybe be in their consideration set, right? Now, this is going to be a mix of paid and free. Like, it could be somebody who saw your ad, who saw sponsored content, who just saw a Google review. That's that second bucket, reputation. The third bucket, this is where all the gold is, referrals. People who called you or emailed you because someone they trusted told them they should. And then number 4, the fourth bucket is repeat. These are the customers who are working with you again. I want you to look back on the deals that you've done for 2024 and figure out what percentage of your deals fall into each of those 4 buckets. How many are leads that you paid for? How many are reputation, where maybe you paid, maybe you didn't? How many are referrals? And how many are repeat? Because here's the deal. If you think of those as a continuum, the first 2 that I mentioned that are over on my left, probably your right, depending on how you're watching this video, that is the commodity zone. Those are people saying, I need somebody who can get me a loan. The third and the fourth bucket, and like maybe a little bit of that second bucket, that is the relational zone. That is the, I need to work with you because, not I need a loan. I want Dawn to do my loan because. So what we have to do is thinking about, how do we get more leads coming in buckets number 3 and number 4. And remember about bucket number 3, what I said before, somebody who comes to you via a referral is 4 to 5 times more likely to refer somebody else. So we want to focus on getting people in those buckets, keeping them like bouncing back and forth between repeat and referrals. So I encourage you to track that. Like, if that's not a metric that you tracked in your business of this year, like, where did all of your leads come from and how much did you pay for each bucket? That's a really great thing to look this time of year back on for the previous year and make goals going forward into 2025 of what percentage of your leads should be coming from each of those 4 categories.
or where you want them to come from.
Exactly. And not just your leads, like your business. Like how much of the money that you made last year can you attribute to each of these buckets?
I love that. I wrote down the 4 buckets. Give me a thumbs up if you like the 4 buckets, because that's it. I mean, it makes you really think of where your business is coming from when you're prepping your business model for 2025. And it makes me think differently because now I'm like, how do I get, like you said, you almost have to, if you're a mortgage professional and not a call center, that you have to be in 3 and 4. Because honestly, just being completely honest, give me a thumbs up if you believe. What I believe is that 1 and 2, it's not your zone. It's not, you're not going to compete with, you know, the call centers. You just can't. I'm sorry. If the people fit in that little box, and just so you know, it's only 7%. Like everybody goes a rocket. No, they just get a large percent of the entire nation that adds up to like 7%, where most companies only get 2. So that's why you're like, how are they so big? It's only 7%. You know, we're not going to compete with the call center type. That's a certain client. So stay with, just don't compete in that zone is what I'm saying. Compete in 3 and 4 where you can. What the nature of this whole call is differentiate yourself. And I love to tell the stories, build your referral list, have a referral list of, hey, anything I can help you with, I probably have a great referral for you,
Yeah.
and
And telling them to keep your number because of that. Like you can even say, hey, you're going to have some questions. You're going to start to see all the like spam mail that we know that comes after a loan closes and people are sending the, in my mind, predatory notices of like, call me about this and that, or when the loan is sold, what that looks like. Make sure people know that they can continue to reach out to you and be a resource. Something that I say sometimes is, I don't care how many people are in your database. I care how many people have you in theirs. How many of the
uh,
people that you've worked with have saved your name and your number as a contact in their phone because they want to talk with you again? They're not like, the deal is done, I can forget you exist. They want to continue to have a relationship with you because they value that two-way dialogue. So the more that you can do to prove that the value you're adding doesn't stop on closing day, the more likely you are to stay saved as a contact in their phone, stay in their inbox so that they can recommend you to others.
that's absolutely brilliant. And I got, it's so funny. I've been doing this for decades. And somebody gave me a tip. And I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have known that when I started in the industry, because then so many people would have me in their phone still. So give me do you really feel that every client in your database remembers your name? Probably not. After,
And that's okay, because
no,
also there
right.
are going to be some clients that you're never going to want to work with again. So like, I don't want anybody to misunderstand today's call
Aubrey,
that like
thank you.
you can turn or should turn everybody to a super fan. You will not. There are going to be some clients that you're like, I'm glad we're done. I'm happy that you're happy in your new home. I would be okay not seeing you anymore. You obviously want to leave it on good terms, but don't feel like you've got a process and you have to follow that process for every customer. You can
Right.
absolutely remove people from the like
Oh, I
people
have.
I'm going to stay engaged with list all the time.
Delete. We've all had those clients who you're like, please. And birds of a feather flock together. You don't want their referrals either. A lot of
Exactly.
times, not always, but I'm just saying, I have learned that a jerk client tends to give you jerk friends. um, uh, so one of
And there are some people who are never ever happy. Like there's a slide that I put in my deck recently.
oh my
Somebody
gosh.
shared it's somebody left a review that said, Dr. Lewis saved my life and gave him 4 stars. And Dr. Lewis shared it saying, I honestly don't know how I could have earned that 5th star. And it's funny because like we
Right.
all know people like that. We
Oh
all know
yeah,
people.
yeah.
I
There's
like
always room for improvement. I
Yeah,
get that.
I wrote in my book, Creating Superfans, that there are very few 3-star reviews because why are you going to take your time to leave a 3-star review when
Right.
generally we read reviews that are 1 star or 5-star because people are
That's all
saying
I look at.
terrible thing happened or this, great thing happened. I had a guy leave me a 3-star review, go on a tirade on Goodreads, and then also send it to me saying, how dare you tell me I shouldn't leave 3-star reviews? There's validity in 3-star reviews, just on and on and on and on. And it's like, cool, crazy man. I'm glad that's like the one thing that you took away from my book. So then I looked in his Goodreads history and like he had left dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of 3-star reviews. So there are always going to be people like that. But you know what? I don't want guy who was like, hey, this thing was fine. Because you're right. Everybody knows that's not the guy we're going to go to when we want a recommendation, because that guy is never happy with anything. He's the guy who had his life saved and gave probably 3, not 4-star reviews.
So one of the hints I thought was really clever, that and you guys are like, what is the hint? So when you're done, just say, hey, I want to be a resource for you. And there's a chance you may not remember my name. That's okay. But the easiest thing you could do is anytime you think of mortgage for you, one of your coworkers, one of your friends, or one of your family members, break it out that way. Don't say for anyone because their head blows up. They're like, anyone? Anybody that you can potentially that I can help serve you the way I did is just put next to my name, put mortgage guy or mortgage girl or the mortgage queen, whatever you want to be called, but put mortgage or home loan or something that they can remember, because then they just go mortgage and they find you. You can always find me by just type in mortgage and you can find me in case you forget my name, because I'm always here for you. So that was a really good idea. I'm like, I'd have so many people with like the mortgage guy in their freaking phones, versus I don't remember his name. And I got a last name of Getling. Come on. They can't pronounce it or say it right. So it's pretty important that you find a way for them to remember you. So, Brittany, we can do this for hours, as always. And I hope people are smart enough to go read your book, follow you, because you always have, like, I get your updates weekly with just clever, really cool, ideas, fun things, and all that. You are a breath of fresh air and a beautiful thing to our world. And we appreciate you. And hopefully, all of you got some good pearls. And hopefully, you join us next week. We have, let's see, what do we have? We have Craig. I believe we have Craig and Kirsten. Yeah. Navigating the next generation of home ownership. Two of my favorite people right there. And then we're going to close out with our Momentum Builder team, talking about closing out 24 and how to crush 2025. And then throw up the little clip for anybody to join us next year. Get your ticket early because we got some surprises for those that sign up early. They're gonna get some added value by signing up early, and we're gonna share that. So make sure you save your ticket because it's gonna become more expensive down the road for sure. The ticket price is $12.95 right now. You can get it for like $6.45, and that's one of the lowest prices you'll ever see. So hopefully you join us. Thank you very much for being part of our family. Brittany, I absolutely adore and love you. You've been an inspiration my entire career. And